The search for a missing man believed swept away by floodwaters. The discovery late this afternoon that may make everyone's worst fears a reality.
Wanting information about loved ones after a suspected drunk driver plows into a bus stop. 4 dead, 8 injured in what many are calling one of the most gruesome sights they've ever seen.
Now, Nevada's first choice for news. This is Channel 8 News Now at 6.
Thanks for joining us. Dave is off. A body was discovered a couple of miles from where a landscape worker disappeared when floodwaters rolled in after heavy storms on Tuesday.
Now, there's no confirmation yet that body is Cayetano Lopez. Cherie Harvin has spent all day at the command center for Red Rock Search and Rescue. She has the latest now. Cherie?
Paula and Paula, right now, that's exactly what we're doing, waiting on the coroner to identify the body found just a short time ago. But earlier we talked to Cam Bryan, who actually owns Par 3 Landscaping and Maintenance, which is where Cayetano Lopez works. And he was actually with the Red Rock Search and Rescue team the moment the discovery was made this afternoon.
He's one of the Par 3 employees that was up a little bit upstream from us, looked over up along the riverbank, probably 8 to 10 feet up off of the ground and in a pretty heavily wooded area, and saw what he thought was a body. Depending on how many people happen to have gotten caught up in the flood, he's the only one we know of, and it was a body, and it somewhat matched the physical description. It did not match the clothing description because the body that was found didn't have any clothing on it. So I hope this isn't premature at all, but it appeared to be a Hispanic male. It appeared to come from the area where he was last seen in the wash.
I want to tell you how the search for Cayetano Lopez began. Tuesday, Par 3 Landscaping and Maintenance says Lopez was working in this wash at Desert Rose Golf Course. Once the storm hit, supervisors asked everyone to go home. They quickly realized Lopez's car was in the parking lot, but he was missing. Metro conducted flyovers while ground units searched the edges of the wash. And it was amazing, about over 100 Par 3 employees actually tagged along with the Red Rock Search and Rescue. But even more amazing is the strength that we have seen today from Victoria Lopez. She and Cayetano are expecting a baby in about 3 months. They've been married several years, but it was amazing just to see her out here today. It was very hot. Still, she wanted to wait and help rescuers in any way she could, but also wait for updates. My photographer, Jonathan Carrera, actually translated my conversation with her. And right before the storm, she said they had just gone to the doctor's office to check on their unborn child. In fact, healthy. They had talked about a name and decided on the name Victor. And so she was so excited. And to see her today, she is extremely strong. But now she is just waiting to find out if the body that was discovered today is, in fact, her husband. Reporting live, Cherie Harvin, 8 News Now.
Thank you so much, Cherie. A horrific wake-up call early this morning as a car barreled through a crowded bus stop, leaving 4 people dead in its wake. Metro is still on scene hours later investigating this crash. One officer told 8 News Now the driver had gotten behind the wheel after a night of drinking. Petrania Punswan has been at the scene of the crash since just after it happened. What's the latest you can tell us, Petrania?
Well, Paula, it's been more than 12 hours now, and Spring Mountain Road here between Arnold and Decatur still close to traffic, still an area to avoid as investigators are trying to reconstruct this crash that left 4 people dead, as you said, and 8 others injured. And it was just before 6:30 this morning when it all happened, when a Metro officer at a nearby gas station here saw a car speeding past the intersection near Spring Mountain and Decatur. And minutes later, he said that car lost control, slammed into a bus stop full of people waiting to go to work. Police say that evidence has now shown that the driver was drunk at the time. One officer said that decision to get behind the wheel intoxicated has resulted in one of the most horrific crashes he's ever seen.
That was a conscious choice. We still call it an accident, but this is an avoidable collision. This should have not happened had he made the right decision.
We all do stupid things, but it just takes one stupid move like that, and it costs not only your life, but others who are just innocent people.
Well, that was Pam Orridge, whose two sons normally go to that bus stop around the time of the crash every morning to go to work, but one ended up taking the day off today and the other one caught an earlier bus. So a very, very thankful mother tonight, but in all 8 people were taken to the hospital, including the driver who suffered serious injuries in this crash. He's now facing 4 counts of felony DUI. And as you can see behind me, investigators are still on the scene. Police, though, have not released the name of the suspects nor the driver. That driver, by the way, had several people in the car with him at the time of the crash. Reporting live, Patranya Poonswan, 8 News Now.
And after the crash, the 8 injured were rushed to 2 local hospitals. Several remain in critical condition at this hour. 4 victims from today's crash recovering at UMC and 4 more over at Sunrise Hospital. Sources at UMC tell us one of those victims remains in serious condition while the other 3 are in good and fair. However, the injuries on the 4 victims over at Sunrise are said to be more serious. We're told 3 still remain in critical condition while the other is in good condition and recovering from his injuries. Michelle Garner just confirmed that her mother, Johnny, was one of those victims. And today's crash will make what's been a very bad year on Las Vegas roads even worse. Already there have been 129 deaths on Clark County roads in 2012. 29 of those deaths have been pedestrians. Today's have not been added to that official total yet. It's kept by authorities. Still, that number well up from the 82 at this time last year. And there have been a lot of questions after several past accidents about whether bus shelters are too close to the road in some cases. Here's a look at the stop that was hit. We found this picture on the internet, and you can see there's just a couple of feet that separate it from traffic on Spring Mountain.
The I-Team has spent today investigating whether bus stops would be safer if they were moved back from the road or designed differently somehow. Making bus stops safer involves a major engineering challenge. The Regional Transportation Commission has been negotiating with property owners to try to find ways to move bus shelters back. The I-Team has learned there were no scheduled plans to bring the shelter at Spring Mountain and Decatur back from the road. The other option is to fortify bus stops with cement pillars called bollards.
Why aren't we putting those great big cement bollards in front of them? Well, you know, when you look at a video of what happens when a vehicle hits one of those big cement bollards, you understand right away why they don't do that.
Still, concrete barriers can cause other problems. A vehicle could rip one apart, sending shrapnel flying that could cause injuries or even death.
There was a smoky fire at Planet Hollywood on the Strip today. It was apparently caused by sparks from workers using a grinding tool. One woman, a hotel employee, was sent to the hospital. The 2-alarm fire caused $100,000 in damage. About 90 firefighters evacuated 3 floors of the North Tower after the fire was reported just after 10 o'clock this morning. It was initially reported as smoke in a trash chute on the 5th floor. Fire sprinklers activated. Firefighters spent more than an hour dousing smoldering areas along that trash chute from the 2nd to the 9th floors. Metro Police have released new surveillance video of a shooting at a casino. On Monday, a security guard was critically wounded after being shot at the Silver Saddle Saloon. And the suspects are 3 Hispanic males who were told to leave by the guard. The new video shows the alleged shooter and what police call an associate prior to the shooting. Police are hoping this will generate new leads in this as yet unsolved case. Anyone with tips is asked to call Crime Stoppers.
At the start of this newscast, we told you about the developments and the discovery of a body in the area where a man was swept away by fast-rising waters from Tuesday's monsoon storms. Also, other neighborhoods pounded by Tuesday's rainstorm are still drying out. Crews are busy on this second full day of cleanup. And as Aaron Drohorn learned, some residents won't be able to return home for months.
2 days after Tuesday's trouble, the mud is slowly drying out on roads and sidewalks here. Cars remain ruined with the high water from Tuesday, and the cleanup is just now beginning after this flood of trouble.
I could just see it up to the doors. And then
Chet Ryan was in California when his neighborhood was taken by a storm. He came back to find his 68 Firebird convertible spared, but water creeped inside his home.
You can look over here on your sofa. Yeah. It's gone up the wall.
Blake Burr, owner of Copper Creek Construction, is busy determining the damage up and down Walton Heath Avenue.
Anytime groundwater or floodwater enters into the house, then it carries along with it a lot of contaminants. And so anything that the floodwater actually touches should come out and be removed.
The financial toll is huge, into the tens of thousands to repair flooded homes. Ryan made what turned out to be a worthwhile investment.
Good common sense says get the insurance, because we've had enough warning.
But most never expected to be inundated with water worries. Some families expect to be away from their homes for up to 2 months. Aaron Drawhorn, 8 News Now.
When we come back, breaking news on the attack in Libya. We'll be right back.
Now, breaking news from Channel 8 News Now.
One of the 4 Americans killed in the attack on the U.S. consulate in Benghazi, Libya on Wednesday had recently moved to the Las Vegas Valley. 41-year-old Tyrone Woods was a retired Navy SEAL senior chief petty officer, according to the U.S. Navy. He was providing security at the consulate, according to the State Department.
Now, a neighbor confirmed that Woods lived in Henderson. According to the State Department, Woods is survived by his wife, Dorothy, and his 3 sons, Tyrone Jr., Hunter, Kai, who was born just a few months ago. Woods, known as Roan to colleagues and friends, served as a SEAL for over 2 decades, deploying to Iraq and Afghanistan for multiple tours.
And we'll have more on that story at 11 o'clock. And now this, there was a big drop in the number of Nevadans filing for new jobless benefits. Compared to August of last year, the drop was almost 10%, according to the Nevada Department of Employment, Training and Rehabilitation. A state economist says the rate of initial unemployment claims has fallen in 32 of the past 33 months and is a suggestion Nevada's economy is stabilizing. However, job losses remain elevated and won't return to pre-recession growth rates, he says, for the foreseeable future.
A move to stop a big Southern Nevada water project, the small animal that's the focus of new environmental lawsuits, plus strange sights in the Las Vegas sky, the cause of the mysterious lights, along with a drier weekend forecast.
watching 8 News Now at 6 with Dave Cavassier and Paula Francis. The news for Southern Nevada is now.
A lawsuit has been filed in hopes of stopping the effort to build a pipeline to bring billions of gallons of water to Southern Nevada from a rural area to the north. The suit was filed by the Center for Biological Diversity. It's against the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service for failing to protect 4 spring snail species under the Endangered Species Act. The claim is that the pipeline would cause the water table in rural Nevada to drop more than 200 feet and would dry up the spring that supports the snails and other species.
There was quite a light show across the west and southwest this morning. Turns out it was a military exercise. A twisting cloud-like formation was visible, including here in Las Vegas. Turned out they were contrails from missiles fired from New Mexico, shining brightly in the rising sun. There were a lot of calls and emails to television newsrooms across the region, including, of course, here at 8 News Now. Contrails